Hey, everybody, welcome to iConversations. We're delighted to have you here today. Just wanted to remind everybody that our iConversation chats are really designed to uh, educate, to motivate, and to inspire. And we are delighted today to have on with us Leigh Smith. Leigh, welcome to iConversations.
Thank you.
Now, Leigh, I want to get to know you a little bit more.
Mhm.
So I'm going to ask you just some basic questions, just to get to know you, or so those that are watching live or on the replay can get to know you. Um,
Okay.
where were you born?
I was born in South Africa.
Beautiful. So you
Yep.
say you've already answered question one. You can relax. You're going on
Oh,
to
there
the
you go. Whew.
next. You're going on to the next
You're not
round.
going to ask me about all my where I've lived everywhere.
No, I'm not going to ask you a year by year play or anything. Leigh, do you have any hobbies?
No, because I work a lot.
I,
I keep saying I do go to the gym in the mornings, but I've been saying for years I'm going to take up golf. Anyway, I did for a couple of months, but then yeah.
but
So
then work got in the way.
that's right.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's cool. Leigh, do you have a favorite food?
Um, I don't know, it's quite like Mexican.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But
partial
I do
to
like a good curry as well, coming
yeah,
from growing up in Durban in South Africa. So yeah.
yeah. No, that's so good. And do you have family? What tell us a little bit about your family.
Oh, yeah, I have three sons, all grown up. Yeah, so one will be getting my first one will be getting married. Well, he's the youngest, but he'll be getting married this year. But
Yeah.
yeah, so three boys.
Yeah, and one of your sons is just partnered with us at
Yes.
EXP, working
Yeah.
with you. Yeah, so
Yeah. So
welcome, Cameron.
I obviously didn't scare him off.
No, no, that's cool. So let's just learn a little bit more about your real estate career. How long have you been in real estate?
I started in at the end of 2006.
Yeah, okay. And do you mind sharing what you did before you got into real estate?
Oh yeah, so I did various roles. It was mainly in sort of IT publishing. So worked in corporate offices. My last one was corporate office in London, and then I had my children, so I took a couple of years off, and then we immigrated to Australia in 2005. So, but when I was in South Africa, I did tourism promotion. We ran a hotel. So yeah, I've got quite a varied background.
Which
And
is
then I got,
wonderful because it allows you to relate to so many different people.
yeah, yeah. And so then when I came here in 2005, and I was sort of searching for, you know, what my next step was. And actually a friend said to me, you should try real estate. And I was like, real estate? Yeah, I'm not very good at selling. So then, anyway, I went along and had a look and decided to give it a go. And back then, you had to you had to go and be told yes, you can, and then you went and did your license. So,
Yeah, I'm not sure if everybody knows that, but at least in the state of Western Australia, you had to be sponsored by a participating company to be able to go and even do your
yeah,
sales registration or that kind of stuff. So you had to go and knock on a door and go,
yeah,
will you sponsor me? I need to go and do my registrations.
yeah. And then they gave you that. Oh, I don't know if you've been very good in it, but
Yeah. What experience do you have and all that kind of stuff? Yeah,
yeah,
there was definitely a big gatekeeper at the
yeah.
time for sure. Cool. Tell us a little bit about where you are at as far as where you do real estate, where you practice real estate, and those kind of things. What's the
Okay.
market like? What kind of houses are
So,
you selling?
in so I'm in Mandurah Peel region, um, which is it's quite unusual, sort of because we everybody thinks of Mandurah as Mandurah, but we have like suburbs within Mandurah, so it's
And for
quite
those
a
that don't know, where's Mandra related in the on the globe?
Western Australia.
Yep. So you're
So
about an hour south of Perth.
south of Perth, yeah, yeah. So and in the Peel region, and sell various properties from waterfront to apartments to, you know, your little new builds to, it's pretty much everything we've got around here. Um,
Asbestos shacks, farms, everything.
Everything. So yeah, so you name it, we have it here. I guess for us, it's more we probably don't have the big numbers yet, but I mean, obviously Western Australia is growing. So it's a lot of transactions really to get to compete in the icon sort of status here.
Yeah, yeah, you got to pedal fast.
Yeah.
That's that's it.
Yeah.
Um, so can I just ask you a couple of questions about your real estate career? So you got in 2006. What have you seen as far as shifts in the industry since you got in?
Oh, when I first got in, I got sponsored by a little boutique, which pretty much most people here, that was the place where you started out. And it was, you just do this and you got to put on a uniform and you got to do this and you got to do that. Um, Obviously my whole demeanor and getting crushed didn't really fit that, and I struggled with that. I did well, but and then I went and joined Remax because the woman running that was more, I'd say she was probably more agent centric, you know, really believed in building everybody up, and there was success, which was very unusual, I think, in 2007, 8 and that. Anyway, and I was with her for a long time. Then she turned into Acton, and then, yeah, they got bought out. But I noticed the shift, a lot of things where agents were starting to try to really be their own and sort of, you know, instead of giving the lion's share and being told what to do every day and working 7 days a week, and, you know, started to shift into different things where you got a bigger split or you got something else. And so to me, XP was just like, okay, this I see. I mean, this is our world we're in now. Our world has changed completely, you know, digitally, the way people want to work, the way people see themselves. So I think that's the biggest shift. And I think we'll continue to see more shifts like that, as opposed to the franchises where, you know, you have to do and be and say, and you can't build your own brand and your own self.
Yeah. The days of adults being wanting to be micromanaged
Yeah.
is that's gone.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And I
It's
think
just
the next generation are going to fight that even more, you know.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about how your business is structured at the moment. So you have Leigh Smith Realty powered by EXP.
Yeah.
And then talk to us a little bit about who your ideal client is, who you work with, how you choose people, how do you find clients, how do they find you?
Um, Probably about my ideal client. Well, I think like you kind of attract them. Like the most, you know, you'll get one or two that potentially don't fit you in the way you work. But I think you get to that stage where you go, okay, I don't, you know, that's it, and I can step away from that if they don't fit. Or you get into that relationship and you realize it's not what you thought, and we just on different pages. But generally you attract what is your ideal client. And most of my business, thankfully, has come from since I left and set up my own brand under EXP, has been repeat, referral based. And then from having built my brand now, coming up a year in May, I'm really noticing that it's the brand profile that people are calling me from what I've sold and seen, because they seeing me powered by EXP versus just calling an agent. So they, you know, so an agency. So that's pretty much where most of mine comes. I'm not that effective at the moment, probably because I don't have the time at the moment in doing a lot of promotional, you know, and lead generation and or anything, or drops or anything. A lot of it is coming just from clients that I'm meeting, people seeing my profile, and then, as I say, repeat clients. And some of them are people that I sold to 14, 15 years ago that are now deciding to sell and calling me up.
And have you tracked with them on a regular basis? Has that been a strong point of your business? Or they're
Um,
just seeing you and they're going, "Oh,
No,
there's Leigh."
not really. No, I'm not. I mean, I don't, I'm not very good at like, the anniversary thing and all that, and I should be better at all that, and I probably would get more. But no, I just, it's really just people, most of those people that are coming to me 14 or 15 years are people that bought maybe their first house, maybe they were immigrants that first came here. And then they've been in that home and then they've looked me up again. So, they've been happy there for 14, 15 years. The ones that turn over quicker or not don't have that same loyalty or whatever, but they do. I do tend to get people that just call me up, and every now and again I will call people, see how they're doing. But generally it's they call me.
Yeah,
So,
which is the place that's like the nirvana for for real estate agents. People ringing you up and going, "Hey, we bought a house through you, or we sold with you before. Can you come and sell this one?"
yeah.
Um, what do you do, or what have you done that has progressed your career? Because I know that in the past, other places you've been, you've won awards and that kind of stuff. Um, I want to ask you a question. Have you participated in coaching or mentoring at all?
Um, no, but I've done a lot of professional development, not necessarily real estate. I did do a little bit of coaching right at the just before I joined EXP, and it was I kind of, because I was in that place where do I go to next? Do I go and do my own brand or do I stay here? And then I was searching for the right, sort of, do I go completely on my own? Do I get a franchise? And then, of course, my friend in Portugal was doing EXP and had been talking to me for about 4 years. And so then I started to look at all the scenarios. That's when I did the coaching. But I have done a lot of professional development, like Darren Hardy, things over the years, Brian Tracy, whatever, over the last sort of 15, 20 years. So
Yeah, so you've
I do,
invested
I
in
do invest in
yourself.
personal development. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's fantastic. And what about the skills of real estate? Did you just learn on the job, pick it up, or was it intuitive or
Just pretty much just learn on the job, and I think probably for me was a lot of things was probably my little bit of rebellious nature when I went in and the people were like, no, you've got to do it like this, you can't do it like that, and I was just like, because I had to create a network. I came here, didn't know anybody, so I immigrated. I didn't have the network that people had that they went to school with or worked with or whatever before, and didn't have any network for real estate. So I had to really do it from a cold start. So I just had to be there and deliver a service.
is
So
it?
if anybody walked in and the people that had been in real estate 30 years or whatever that were sitting there were going, nah, you've got to, you've got to check this, check that, you've got to qualify them. And I was just like, no, put them in the car because that's what we used to do.
Yeah,
Come around, show them houses. And I just worked it that way. And so that was it. And then I just developed the skills along the way. And
I am interested in that because, in my position, I get to meet a lot of different agents from a lot of different, I don't know, that some of them have got different excuse funnels that they use,
yeah,
and what you're saying is you were parachuted into a cold suburb or a cold area. You didn't know anyone, and you just had to make it happen. Other than like walk-ins from the office and that kind of stuff, how else did you network with people? Did you, go to clubs, events, or like what happened?
no, I just worked really, really hard, and I just followed up, followed up, followed up. I was pretty relentless. So once, walk-ins, we got walk-ins because again, in that time we did used to get a lot of
Yeah,
walk-ins,
yeah,
and people would come in, and so just that, and then follow up, and then home opens and offering to do other people's home opens, and and then just really was following up and becoming a bit of a CSI agent. If I
yeah.
heard something about something else, and then I'd find out through somebody that somebody may be thinking of selling, and so just had to think out of the box, really.
Yeah, that's very cool because it points to, you can either want it and go for it, or you can love your excuses and keep
Yeah.
those, like, oh, I can't do this because I don't have the right look, I don't have the right sound, I don't have the right whatever. And you hear it so frequently with agents that maybe aren't hitting their targets, but they're really holding on to those reasons why they can't do it.
Yeah.
And just in case we have any of those on the watching now or on the replay, what would you say to an agent that's kind of in that space? They see the likes of Lee Smith list 5, sell 5, or whatever in a month, and they're sitting there, it's so hard, it's so hard. What would you say?
I, I'd say it is hard, but you got to want it, and you've got to want it, and you've got to just push through, and you've got to feel the fear and do it anyway, So it's I think that you can say, there is that old cliche saying, the harder you work, the luckier you get, and and I get that, but I think you've got to commit, and I think you've got to be selfish to everything around you, and if you want it, and you've got to work, you've got to put in the hours, you've got to put in the extra, you've got to keep pushing through any negative things, and it's just work. It's work and commitment and following up. And when you don't want to pick up that phone that we all hate, you've got to force yourself to pick up that phone, and you've got to go out, and you've got to push through, um, and believe in yourself, I think.
And I think one of the words that would really describe you really well is you're very tenacious.
Mhm.
You
I was
talked
told
about,
that once by a client. I had that on a testimonial, and I said, "Is that a compliment or is it?"
well, I think it's a compliment because you're not a person that comes to a roadblock and then goes, well, that's it, I'll go home now. You're like, oh, do I go this way, that way? How do I get above and beyond or whatever about the roadblock? If you were starting your real estate career now, but you could bottle up your current knowledge, what would you do differently, or what would you do to launch if you were new to real estate?
If I wish I had the confidence that, but I mean, it's not even confidence. It's just that um, I wish that if I'd started afresh now, I would not listen to the noise around me at all, So, because I think that as much as I try to go, no, I'm doing this, I was like, okay, well, they said you have to do this, and this is the way I got to do it. And I probably should have gone to EXP 4 years ago.
Yeah, but that's all right. That's all right. Yeah. But so if you were starting afresh, is there anything, like, what kind of things would you do to get clients?
Is starting fresh?
Yeah.
I think you would obviously try to network with agents and see if you can, maybe step in and do some home opens or whatever. But I think you've got to think out of the box. I mean, if you're from an area and you've got that network and you grew up and you were at school together and you whatever, then you've got all those people that you can reach out to and ask and tell them what you're doing, and see where it's at. But if you don't, then you've got to join clubs or go to, network things, BNIs or whatever, and find places where you can meet people, talk to people. And I think that you've got to focus on service. At the end of the day, a lot of people forget that we are in the service industry, for want of a better word, and you've got to deliver a service and people will remember you. And even if they don't, and I have that thing that even if they don't buy from you, they will remember how you treated them. And so when they come to sell later on, they will remember you when they call 3 agents in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just chatting to our colleague Ann Smith yesterday, and she had someone ring her on Sunday and said, "You don't know me, but you sold a house for my uncle and he really liked the way that you did business. Can you come talk to us about selling?
Yeah.
Uh, you know, if can you just reflect back on the last, year or so that you've been with EXP? What's been one of the most challenging sales you've had?
One of the most challenging sales I've had was an old client who I knew was difficult back then. But he called me up, said and said, we're ready to sell this home now. And went there and he wanted more, and I had to educate them to get them down to less. I
So
brought
that
them.
happens in Mandra too?
Yep,
Like,
yep. And I brought them an offer and they took it. And then after that, it was a subject sale. And then after that, when they found out what the subject sale got, they said, oh, we should have got that. Different property. And then they pulled the pin on that because we were 5 minutes late for finance. The buyer came back and we offered them 59,000 more, and they played around, and the settlement agent got into it and said, no, we don't want a building inspection. I was like, you have to have a building inspection. They want one. So anyway, pulled the pin and then said, that's it, pulling it off the market, and waited until the contract time was out, and then listed with another agent, and the same buyer went back and he did the deal. So it's probably been my most challenging because it was hours and hours of phone calls. Hindsight, I should have actually fired him after a month.
yeah,
So that's what I've got to get better at, is
yeah.
not feeling guilty and driven to, oh, I've got to look after you because I promised to deliver a service. So when you don't respect me, then I need to let you go.
Creating those boundaries.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And
So
then
that's been my most challenging.
yeah. And then the flip side of that, what's been your happiest sale or maybe your most rewarding? Not from a financial sense, but helping someone.
Oh, I've had a lot of them actually this year. So I don't know if I could say one. I've had a couple of elderly clients who've had that whole fear of selling to find something. So I've had to handhold them through the process and sit with them and, work out all the different scenarios, and had to get them to trust me. And I think I've had 3 or 4 this year, where I've had to get them to trust me that I'm not going to let you be homeless, and we've had to work out some challenging deals and getting them a property and getting it by it so that they can all move and help them through the process. And because it is, it's nerve-wracking at 70, 80 in that way.
Yeah,
What are you going
absolutely.
to be? So I've had some, and then it's all worked out beautifully, so I've said, invariably things work out. So just trust me, we'll go through the process, and it's worked out, and they've been really, really happy. So and that's it. And I mean, I do love what I do, and I do love the outcome. And when it all works, it's so I've had quite a few this year.
That's fantastic. Tell us about where your current market is, like what's happening in your current market, because we got people from all over the place. What's happening in your current market, and what do you think will happen in the next 6 to 12 months?
In our current market, we've got anything in the sort of 600,000 and below is inundated with East Coast investors. So, we're getting, from the minute that property launches, they want an offer right now and they want you to take it now. There's a lot of them requesting off market, or pre-market. A lot of people from over East, they don't like me very much because I don't do off-market sales. So there is just a huge, huge influx of investors, and rents are high. It's very stressful for first-time buyers and just generally people downsizing in that market because they pretty much can't compete at the moment. And then the rentals are very high. We've got a shortage of rentals. We have seen a huge increase, and finally people are seeing the value on the waterfront here, because we're probably still the cheapest. I think we're going to keep going because we've been discovered now. Western Australia was this forgotten place.
Yeah.
So I think we have been discovered, and I think we've got good, a lot of people still coming, still get a lot of calls about people saying, are we coming in 6 months or 10 months or 12 months or whatever? We're thinking about moving over. So we just want to get an idea, question. So I think there's still going to be a lot of movement here. So
Yeah. Okay. And do you think, as you just said, that you think that's going to continue for a little while? Um, Challenging question for you. What skills do you need to get to move into the next phase of the market?
Hmm. Well, one of the things that I want to do is put more into the luxury. So I am the EXP luxury member,
Yeah.
and I've had a few, but it's that finding how you get in to there under instead of being, you're not part of the elite brands of Australia, so that's a challenge in just
How does
getting.
Leigh Smith Realty become the luxury brand of choice?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
that's a big challenge. But I like working with the smaller ones as well. So that
Yeah, sometimes big fish are hard to deal with. No, that's good.
and you get reward out of helping people that need you more, I guess,
Yeah, yeah. No, very good. Very good. Well, Leigh Smith, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the iConversations chat. It's been lovely to chat to you and get to know you, and for the team to get to know you a little bit more. And team, Leigh will be participating in another 5 iConversation chats where we might dig more into what she actually does to garner the business, keep the business going, keep that positive mindset when the clients are going off the rails. And so we look forward to that, Leigh. Thanks so
All
much.
right. Thank you.
All right, guys. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll chat to you soon.